So shorting retail stocks is clearly not a new idea. Ultimately, I think most people can see what's happening in the marketplace with e-commerce. I think we take a fundamental different view to what many people say about e-commerce. E-commerce is not about price. It's about convenience. And if you live in an Amazon Prime country, you can pretty much have anything you want delivered for free within 48 hours. And so it fundamentally changes your buying behaviour. You start ordering from Amazon every day. Believe me, I've done this. The guy comes to your house every day. They'll deliver a tube of toothpaste if you want them to. And so ultimately, you fundamentally change your shopping behaviour. So that's great for Amazon. And they're doing that all at roughly a 3% margin, 5% in the US, 1% internationally. So it's very low margin business for them. If you then move over to the retailers have a problem because they have a business model that's essentially predicated on rolling out new stores. And they roll out new stores, which creates traffic. And they rely on, traffic to these new malls to go to the store. And they rely on you to walk into the shop and spend more than you otherwise would have spent. Bunnings being a perfect example. But ultimately, if e-commerce is as dominant as we think it's going to be, and we see it in Amazon Prime countries, traffic will just disappear. And if traffic goes away, their ability to roll out new stores goes away, and their ability to upsell you goes away. So that's all a negative at the revenue line. But then unfortunately at the cost line, they then have to move into e-commerce to compete. And to do that, they need to go down to where Amazon is on margins, which is essentially 1 to 2%. And they need to spend the money in advance to be able to compete with that convenience. And so ultimately, you have this amazing confession season that's coming, and Target just did this in the US, where they're saying, well, look, we're an 8% margin business, but unfortunately we're going to go to 4 for a little while we do our e-commerce rollout, but don't worry, it's going to get back to 8. And the answer is no, it's not. So there's structural problems at the revenue side and there's structural problems at the cost side. And if they don't address these now, they will cease to exist in the future. Yeah, I mean, I think the e-commerce, you can solve it. You can solve e-commerce. It's just going to cost you an awful lot of money. And we just don't think these companies have essentially fessed up yet to how much money this is going to cost them to compete in the new world. And from that point of view, they need to be truly omni-channel. I come into the shop, leave the shop, look at Apple, it's a beautiful omni-channel retailer. Look at Zara, it's a beautiful omni-channel retailer. They'll be fine, and those companies know what they're doing, but there's a whole tail of retailers who haven't solved this problem. Companies like H&M in Sweden or Ralph Lauren in the US, they have to be able to do online and in-store. They can't grow with the store rollout, and they're going to have to halve their margin profile to do it. And they haven't confessed to that yet. Everybody? Look, I mean, I've been reasonably public on this. If Amazon was turning up to Australia tomorrow, you'd know about it. I mean, their distribution centres cost $1 billion to build. You need multiple football fields to put these things up. So I agree Amazon will come to Australia at some point. It's probably not as soon as what most people think, because the investment required is significant. And so from that point of view, but if they do get here, yeah, people are exposed. The retailer needs to move to that omni-channel position as quickly as possible. They need to couture their client by bringing them into the store and couturing them online. Country Road's a good example here in Australia. They do a pretty good job of it. And so if they do that right, then they will keep their client. And if they don't get there now, then they'll be forced to go there later. And so that's this confession that I think is coming for retail stocks. And we're even only now in the US are retailers confessing to it. And Amazon's been there for 10 years.